All right, we are live. Welcome to Viral Videos for Your Mastermind group with Gellyahnah. My name is Sebastian Cruze, and today we're going to dive into the power of using video for your message, your mission. And Gellyahnah has had up to 5.4 million views on her videos, which, to put that into context, that's like a Super Bowl stadium full of people watching your video, watching your message, and actually now multiply that number by 75. That is how many people have just seen one of your videos. And this is in the spiritual space, the mission-driven space. So if you have any questions of, oh, you can't share your true mission and have it go viral, well, Gellyahnah has done it. And that's the question that I have for everybody today is, how would your life change if one of your videos went viral? So we'll get into the topic today, but first, welcome, Gellyahnah. How are you doing today?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So, yeah, first, what we're going to do today is start off with how you got connected to your mission and video marketing as a way to be seen, be visible, because that's the tragedy that I feel like is that once a person's mission awakens up in their chest, once their vision awakens, nothing happens if we're invisible, hidden away. Like we have to be seen to be able to make an impact. So if you could share a bit about how your mission awakened for you and how that led you into video marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So, okay, so let's unpack that. So how did I discover my mission? How did I stumble upon it? So like any great, painful story of healing, my divorce came through, I was 34, 35. And it was the divorce that sort of kicked me off on this, the spiritual journey, the healing journey. And I've always been spiritual. I mean, I was born with certain talents, although I assumed everybody was like me. So I didn't even realize that I maybe was intuitive or could see things, hear things, know things that others didn't until I would say maybe high school is when I was like, wait a second, I think this is actually like something's going on here. So I've always been that way, but it wasn't until my divorce that I actually proactively started to seek things out and research and study. And really it was about healing because my heart was destroyed, So for those of you that know the soul contract work, I have a 7/7 physical karma, which is all about heartache. And my spiritual karma is a 13/4, which is all about the heart chakra. So my my path in life has been about healing my broken heart from all aspects. And then, of course, turning around and helping others do the same. So I'm shortening the story for you. But as I was on this healing journey, it was around 2018 that I came across Nicholas Angaya. Right. I saw the interview and instantly like every cell in my body was like just screaming. I had a full on physical reaction. It was almost like this reawakening or like a remembering or something. And I'm like, who is this man? What is he talking about? This is unbelievable. I paused the video, like I found him on Facebook. And then I was like, wait, he has a book. And I bought the book and I started watching the video again. And I'm like, wait, it's not going to be here tomorrow. I need the book now. So I went and got it on Kindle, like all of this while he's only like 20 minutes into the interview at this point. You know what I mean? Like, so it was just a full-on experience for me. And the moment I got my hands on this work, I mean, I went down the rabbit hole, so I read the book, started doing readings before I even took classes. Then I ended up taking class. I mean, at this point, I've taken all the classes, because it's been now since, 2018. But that was essentially how I discovered this work. And it just felt so right to me, So at this point in my life, who knows where I go next? But I feel like the sound frequencies, like this is my language. I speak them, I understand them. There's just this natural, innate sort of ability that comes with it and knowledge. So that was essentially how I came to be doing soul contracts. Okay. Now, oh yes,
Can
your
I,
question.
yeah, can I
Sure.
pause something right there?
Yeah.
So what's really extra special about this is that we have a shared, mentor, ally in our life, Nicholas David Nin,
Mhm.
who was the first person that kicked off this series a few weeks ago. And so what Gellyahnah is referencing is the spiritual school about learning about your soul contract. And we've both gone through the practitioner training, the reader trainings. So it's like we have a shared origin story in a way. And so I just want to put some context there as, yeah, it's the very same Nicholas that we talked with, and the very same soul contract work that you're sharing with people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great context there. And so, okay, so that's how I came about into this work. Now, how did I end up spreading the message? Okay, so that's next story, next phase. So at this point, as I was going through the healing and as I was discovering this, I had a company that I was running. I launched this company when I was 27. So I was running this company, and it was very 3D. It was business networking, essentially, right, in a nutshell. Um, Very public here locally where I am in Phoenix. And so I'm running this company, and you can imagine my entire identity is attached to it, right? I launched it at 27. It was my baby. It was my invention. It was it was very unique. Nothing like this existed when I launched it. And so I didn't know how to let go of it, because as I started to evolve myself, it was a very difficult thing. And so a number of deaths essentially had to occur. One of them being, I had to realize I am not that company, and so there's a lot that was happening. My now ex-husband was my, when he was my husband, he was my business partner, and he was the software guy. So when we split up, I mean, I went from having a partner to not having a partner. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And the messages were so clear in retro. Everything is clear in retrospect. The messages were so clear, like, let go, let go, let go. And I was like, no, right? Like, your ego consciousness will just not let us do that. And I wouldn't let go. And so I was running the company. I was miserable. It was a dream that turned into a nightmare. And I was doing readings on the side, because right now that I discovered this work, like, how could I possibly not, be getting into it? So both of these things are happening. I'm about 38, 39, just to give you at this moment in time, that's how old I was. I'm going to take you to my 40th birthday. I woke up on my 40th birthday, and in spirituality, 40 is a very significant number. 40 talks about great transformation, and it's mentioned many times in sacred texts. Just to give you a few examples, 40 days and 40 nights of the flood.
Mhm.
The Jewish people wandered in the desert for 40 years. Moses went up to Sinai for, 40 days, 40 nights. New Testament, Old Testament, 40, 40, 40. The human gestation period is 40 weeks. Okay. So when you turn 40, something very magical happens, magical, supernatural, whatever you want to call it. But essentially, and Carl Jung says this, everything up until 40 is research. Past 40, that's when life begins. So the moment I opened up my eyes on my 40th birthday, every single psychic sense was going off. It was like it was like I was hearing, I was feeling, I'm like, oh my God. And the message was, if you do not step into doing what you came here to do, there's going to be trauma. And it wasn't like, we're going to send you trauma to punish you. It was like, because when you're off path, you're in your unprotected self, and you're open to the trauma, right? And I was like, oh my God, there's no way. Trauma, no. Like, I've already had so much trauma in my life. And to me, I'm like, listen, God doesn't talk to me like that every day, right? I'm intuitive, but this was a different sort of a conversation. And I was like, okay, this is it. I have to leave the company, whether that means sell it or literally walk away from it and step into doing what, the soul contract work. But I didn't know how to do that. So like, I'm like, how do I get clients? So around this time, TikTok was already around, and I was already on TikTok. I have an 11-year-old daughter, so she was maybe 9 at the time. And she had downloaded TikTok on my phone, and I kept deleting it, and she kept adding it. And so one day I opened the stupid TikTok app. I'm like, what is this? And of course I get sucked right into it. I mean, because that's what these apps do.
Yeah.
And so I was very familiar with TikTok already by this point. And so I said to myself, I'm going to go on TikTok and I'm going to talk about this work. Because why did I choose TikTok? Because nobody there knew me, right? Because I already had, like I said, I had a big presence because of my other company. So I was public. So everybody knew me on Facebook. Everybody knew me on Instagram. So TikTok was the only place I could sort of, be a different persona. So I went to TikTok and I started posting spiritual videos, relating to soul contract work or just spiritual information in general, things that were interesting to me. Sebastian, like a week into it, I'm sitting there and I remember this because I was in one of Nicholas's classes. I think it was maybe his phonetics class. I don't know. I'm sitting in class and I look at my phone and it's blowing up. And I'm like, what is going on? I open it and I had 2 or 3 videos going viral. And I mean, like crazy viral. I'm like, what is happening? And it literally took me a moment to realize what is actually happening. And what was happening is I was going viral. I was getting followers like by not the hundreds, by the thousands. I would refresh it and it'd be up 500, 800. I'm like, this is insane. I've never seen anything you wouldn't, it's almost like until you experience it, you don't even believe it. It's almost like, oh yeah, that happens to celebrities or whoever, like, right.
Yeah.
But it was like that. And I'm like, this is crazy. And again, so I've been an entrepreneur since I was 27. I mean, I used to do business coaching. So what's the next thing my mind goes to? Crap, I'm missing opportunity. I did not have my TikTok set up as a business, right? It was literally just like, because I went on there to almost get away from everybody I knew. And so let me pause the business side for a moment. We can come back to that. But this is, I think, what's important for people to know, and I talk about this a lot, is that while I knew myself in my ego consciousness as this, businesswoman who was, like forefront, trailblazing, like all of that, wearing blazers, the heels, I knew myself that way. I was that person. But it was really my divine feminine that was going to be running the spiritual business. And I knew that, but I didn't quite, I wasn't quite fully in my divine feminine. And what I loved about TikTok is that it gave me the opportunity to just put on my flowy dresses and go out in nature and just like be a girl, and record myself just spinning and whatever, and then post that to TikTok and put words over it, right? Because that's what TikTok was back then, and it's evolved, into something else now. But it gave me the opportunity to play and experience myself in a way that I'd never experienced myself. And after posting, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 videos, I started to scroll through my own TikTok feed and I'm like, oh my God, who's this woman? Like, this is so cool. Like, I'd never seen myself that way. And it really allowed me to go deeper into my heart space. And like, all of a sudden I saw the vision, like I got it. I'm like, okay, it's through social media and it's about being in my feminine and it's about speaking my truth and it's play. So, we all have different energies. And for me, play is so important. Like I tell people, I used to say this almost as a joke, but now I realize it's true. Like, the older I get, the less responsible I get. But really what it is the older I get, the more I realize how important play is to me. And so making these videos like the TikTok, the Instagram, it's not work to me. To me, it's literally, it's play. And because I was doing it from that energy and that perspective, I mean, it was just popping off like crazy. Right. So that, I think, answers your question. How did I get to, from realizing my purpose to then getting my message out? And I think the key here is you have to be genuine and you have to do it in the energy that works for you. Because I cannot tell you how many people come up to me and say, and sometimes almost in a rude way, like, what do you do on TikTok? Like, you're just pointing to words on there. Like, like they say it almost in a mean way. And I'm like, what is that quote? Like, I'm the one laughing all the way to the bank, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how the quote goes, but I'm like, why would you say something rude to me like that? Like, do you know how much business that TikTok brings in of me spinning around in my dress. Like, you know, but my point is people don't understand that they can't connect. That's my energy. I can get on there and do something flowy in my dress and it works for me. If that's not your energy, don't do that.
Mhm.
That's not going to work for you, right? What's going to work for you is whatever your energy is of how you show up in the most genuine sense, right? For me, it happens to be divine feminine. You know, I put my hair down, put on a dress. Like, no one's going to question, no one's going to say, wait, no, that girl needs to be wearing a business jacket,
Mhm.
right? Because that's just not my energy. So, okay, so I'll pause here because there's so much more I can say. Laura, thank you. Like, I love you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And two things I want to really highlight there that I feel like is so powerful is number one, the authenticity. So, like you shared, you were able to start fresh on that new
Yeah.
platform. There was no thought of like, oh, what's, you know, the friends from 10 years ago going to think about the soul contract? What's grandma going to think about the soul contract? You know, like you're able to start fresh. And I think that is something everybody can relate to in their own way, is like when their mission opens up, that vision opens up, like there's a lot of growth, there's a stepping into a new version of ourselves. And it can feel like maybe there's some chains or fears or concerns or judgments, you know. So one thing I'm hearing is whatever a person can do to give themselves permission to be fully authentic, like that accelerates the route. Because a lot of people, you know, may get to that place, but it takes them 10, 15 years.
Mhm.
And one of the things that's special about your story is the speed. And so first and foremost, I want to say authenticity. Is there anything you want to share on that?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and that's exactly what I'm saying is that you have to be authentic and genuine to your own energy. For some people, that style of how I show up my, oh, you know, but here's what I was going to say is I think sometimes we don't know what our style is. We
Right.
don't always know what it means to be, you know, how do we show up on social media? And this is, again, because I've worked with so many entrepreneurs, this is where they get stuck,
Hmm.
is because they don't know how they show up. And I think it's important to just start, because where you start is not where you're going to end up. You have to remember how I said all of a sudden I was scrolling through my feed and I saw myself.
Yeah.
It's not like I had that vision in mind, or maybe I did subconsciously. I don't know, you know, but it's like, but physically with my eyes, I saw how I'm showing up after I got into action and just started posting. So I think, you know, we can tell people, yeah, be your authentic self, but they might say, I don't know what that is. And my response would be, just try it and see what you show up as. That's how you'll discover your authentic self.
Right. Oh, this is so good. So good. So, yeah, and let's go to that part for you. So when you're like, all right, I'm gonna go on TikTok, and did you have a nudge or a feeling? You mentioned like play, what felt fun to you.
Mhm.
Let's go into that. Is that what you thought? Like, hey, I'm gonna do a video, and like the nitty, you know, the tangible details of that. What was that like for you of actually getting those first few videos up?
It was fun.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just fun. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, like, you know, in the first few videos, I didn't record new ones. You know, what I did was is I went back to videos of me in like Bali playing in the waterfall. I remember I have this one where I was just in one of the most blissful states because we were in some like sacred waterfall in the middle of the jungle in Bali. And I have this video of me just like probably high on whatever elements are there, you know? And I mean, I just love that. So I posted that video a few times. Then there's another one of me dipping into the waterfall. Then I had one of me in Tulum, you know, just walking on that white sand beach with like the wind blowing. And so I'm like, oh my God, these videos, they need to be up on So first I went to that B-roll that I already had in my camera. And then I was like, well, how do I emulate this? I live in Phoenix, Arizona. There's no waterfalls. There's,
Yeah.
you know, there's no wind. So I would try to catch just beautiful nature in the background. And that's actually if you look at my Instagram reels and TikTok, that's a big part of my
Mm.
Branding is I like to be in nature, not all videos, but most of them. And so I went to Sedona. I was like, when I live in Phoenix, so that's easy. So I drove up to Sedona and I just so much video. You just because what you do is you just record yourself and then you go back and you sort of cut up the videos
Mhm.
and you post them and you put whatever words you want to put on them. So
Mm.
if you're talking about technical, like how did I technically do it? If I
Yeah.
understood your question correctly.
Yeah, yeah, this is great. And the second thing I want to highlight from your story is the play part. So I know how everybody's got a left brain here, left brain logical, right brain creative. Everybody's in business. So I know there's a little voice that says, what is play going to do for my business? Like the way I look at it is play is fun. Fun is magnetic. So if we're having fun, like we're magnetic. People want to be around that, and that's what I hear from your story. Is you're having fun, you're excited about it, and then that energy, like that mood, that energy was coming through to people.
Absolutely. I never create videos when I'm in a funk. Like if I'm in a bad mood, I will not put that camera on me. I might be sitting there in a funk, but what I'll do is I'll take a pre-recorded video
Mm.
and then I'll post it. But I like, for me to take my phone and, actually record myself, I have to be in a good energy space.
Awesome, and I feel like that's so powerful to just for mastermind leaders, is people who want to be a mastermind leader, people who want to be a community leader. It's like we're in the people business. We're bringing people together. So, yes, there's all these strategies and techniques and marketing this, marketing that. And it's like the more time passes, and I've been in market 14 years, it's like, hey, 80% of it is like the energy that you're bringing into it. And so if we're in the people business, we're just bringing together a circle of allies, us being the lighthouse of what energy do we want to be the beacon. And it sounds like when you were doing this, it was, and when you continue to do this, it's like, boom, bright, shiny energy lighthouse beacon to bring people in.
Yeah, at least that's the goal. That's the goal. And so with TikTok, so I just want to say because my journey started on TikTok, and this is when TikTok was giving their traffic away, basically. I mean, they were trying to get everybody off of Instagram, and I kind of caught the tail end of that.
Hmm.
But I do want to just share a little bit of the journey for, again, technical reasons and some, market research reasons. But um at one point, TikTok shadow banned my account.
Mm.
And this was in February of 2022, I'll say. They shadow banned it. And what that means, and I knew they did because I had a business account. So I could see that my videos were no longer showing up on the feed. Why did they shadow ban me? I have no idea. There could be a million reasons. And it literally could have been to the point where because like in TikTok, I've heard that they have people that literally will monitor videos, and if they don't like what you're posting, they can like lower the volume, they can cool it down. That's the phrase. They can
Mm.
cool it down, and so
Mm.
that your videos won't go to the feed. So they didn't block my account. It was still active, but my videos were no longer going to the feed. And that killed I mean, that was my whole business at that point. That's the only way I was getting clients. And I mean, it was a huge shock. I'm not going to go into the trauma of it, but I was like legitimately depressed because in January, I had the biggest sale month I've ever had. And in February, they shut me down. Right. So
Mm.
I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm about to go up. And it was like, boom, no, you're not going anywhere.
Mm.
So the good thing is that I was scheduled because I was scheduled out 6 to 7 months from there, right? So I think I was scheduling into August, maybe at that point. And but between February and August, I couldn't figure out how to get a new account going. And I mean, it was this whole thing, but I ended up getting a new phone, and I would VPN, blah blah blah. Again, that could be a whole other conversation. But finally, in August of 2022, I got a new account to go to work. And what I mean by that, the video started to go viral, and they started to go to people's feeds. And
Mm.
so right away, business picked up, boom, it skyrocketed. Now, this is me working through my for having trust, where up and down,
Right.
up and down. I have like I said, a 13-4 in my karma. I have a 4-4 in my physical talents. So this was just life taking me on one of those roller coasters. So the account comes back, a new account. Okay. So now I'm on a new account and it's going really well, you know, all of this. But then what happens is TikTok doesn't know what they want to be when they grow up. So now TikTok, essentially they used to, you know, allow these, this wild reach, and now they closed it. And now the only way you can get this wild reach is, I mean, you have to have really good content. And at the end of the day, it just comes down to that anyways. You have to have good content. There's probably more to it because, again, they're trying to push all their shop products. I mean, there's all these, like I said, they don't know what they're doing right now. And it does create a nightmare for the creators because there's no consistency. Okay. Meanwhile, Instagram is like, we want all our people back. So Instagram said, we are now going to allow our reels to act like TikTok. And we're going to give our people that post on reels, we're going to reward them by giving them a really big reach. Okay. So I'm taking you all the way to December of just this past year of 2023. So I would create on TikTok, I would create the reels on TikTok. But then, or I'm sorry, I would create the, you know, videos on TikTok, and then I would download them and I would re-upload them to Reels on Instagram Reels. And I would try to, you know, because Instagram and TikTok, it's like, you know, American English and UK English. It's the same, but it's different, right? Like there's like little nuances and you kind of have to like speak the language. So I would, when I wouldn't just repost, I would make my TikTok speak Instagram language, if that makes sense. Okay. You kind of have to do that. Otherwise it's not going to work. And I was doing that and still not a lot of traction. Like, you know, I'd get some views, but nothing crazy. And I had about 8,000 followers as of December 1st. I posted December 1st, I posted a video, and I posted the same video on TikTok. And then I posted the same video on Reels on the same day. And all of a sudden the video on Reels just started going bonkers. Like, and at this point it has 5.5 million views. I mean, it's not done. It keeps going and going. And it just like skyrocketed. All of a sudden I'm like, what is going again? You know, because you can tell when something's blowing up because my email's blowing up, my phone's blowing up. I'm like, what is happening? And I'm like, oh my God, one of my Reels is going viral. And that has never happened. Where I've had TikToks go viral, I've never had Reels go viral. So right now, I'm telling everybody that's willing to listen, right now is the time to be on Reels, because right now Instagram is trying to get everybody back from TikTok. Right. So it's almost like they're having this tug of war and I'm here for it. You know, whatever.
Right. You win either way.
Right. And I found that actually the clientele converts better on Instagram and they're willing to pay more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's been my like, that's what I've seen the last few months. Mind you, so December 1st to February 9th. I mean, it's been a very short time, but I am now scheduling into November, and I've raised my prices a few times and I've created new products because of this crazy demand that just came in off of Instagram.
Right. And we're in February 9th right now. So you're booking already into November.
Yeah.
Almost next year. Yeah. Okay. And I'm so glad you shared that because yeah, and it's one of the takeaways for me is how you handled the adversity of the different platforms and found a way to continue to get your message out. You just didn't hang it up and say, whoops, you know, you continued. And one question I have is, what do you feel on YouTube Shorts? Does that fit in the mix here? What are your thoughts on YouTube Shorts?
I love that you asked me that because that's like my final frontier, you know, so every so often I'll go on there and I'll post something, but I've not been able to get any traction. But I don't give up. Like kind of how I did with Instagram, nothing was happening, but I would still post. And then this one took off. And so, you know, now I'm on there. I'm assuming the same thing might happen with YouTube Shorts. There's only so many platforms I can
Right.
speak to, right? Because I said it's not, you can't just repost the video. You have to tweak it a little bit so it corresponds to the language that the native platform actually wants. And they're all different times. So for instance, TikTok wants you to have really long content, but Reels only allows you 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I have to edit, right? So that's why I create my content on TikTok. And let's say it's 2 minutes, I have to cut off 30 seconds before I post it onto Reels. And with YouTube Shorts, I don't know what it is now, but I think before it was only 1 minute.
Right. From what I understand, I believe that's what it is right now, 60 seconds.
And every platform has a different way of finding and tracking trending sounds. And I have not figured out what that is on YouTube Shorts. I'm sure it's really easy. Like I said, I just don't spend a lot of time on there. I will tell you, my 11-year-old daughter spends time on there and she has videos that go viral. And it's like the cutest thing ever. So if she can do it, I know it's possible.
Right.
I just don't speak that language.
It's a family business at this point. I don't know if you guys have a dog, but the dog's going to be going viral. Goldfish.
Yeah, no dog. But honestly, part of the reason why I'm okay with my daughter knowing this and like she sees me doing this is the currency of the future.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
So when it comes to topics, how do you approach that? Because, I feel like a person can be inspired with so many topics, so many sound bites, whether they're in conversations, ideas, maybe there's drawings, diagrams, things out in the world that a person sees they're inspired by. How do you choose your topics for the short videos?
All right. Okay. So let's talk about that, and let's actually use the viral one as an example, because I think that one was really interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's one quick thing I didn't finish my thought. So December 1st, I had 8,000 followers on Instagram. Now I think I have like 175,000 or 177,000.
Yeah.
Again, so just put it into perspective of what just one or a few viral videos can do for you, right? Because I had a few go viral since that one, the 5 million one. Okay, so what was interesting about that video, which was even different than how I typically post. So I am a spiritual girl. I like to talk about spiritual things. The more woo-woo, the better. I don't hide this. I don't care to talk about mainstream topics. Like, leave that to the mainstream people, right? And so what was different about this video is that I talked about I didn't start out by talking about soul contracts or anything spiritual related. I literally talked about the different age cycles. And it talked about, literally, this was my hook, right? Because the hook is so important in these videos. You have to grab them like in nanoseconds. And my hook was, if you're between the ages of 35 to 42, this video is for you. Listen up. Okay. 35 to 42, I'm grabbing a huge population, So 35 to 42. And then I begin to tell them when I don't remember what my exact words were, but it was like, if you're between 35 to 42, this is your 7 years of your spiritual awakening cycle, because everything in life happens in 7-year cycles. And 35 to 42, you're going through your spiritual awakening, which probably for most of you means life is falling apart. You're probably, you might be going through a divorce, health issues, car accident, losing people in your life. The entire infrastructure of your life is most likely collapsing, right? Like that, I almost said that all in one breath. And I didn't realize I did. Not that I didn't realize I did, but I did realize it, but I didn't realize I was speaking when I was recording it. I didn't realize I was speaking to such a large audience of the world because this is so universal. And I'm not saying this is in your soul contract. I'm talking about 35 to 42. Your life is probably falling apart, and here's why. Right? And so it grabbed the attention. You know what the keyword is it was relatable. So the key with any good content is that it has to be relatable.
Mhm.
So when I talk about spiritual woo-woo things, I'm literally only talking to spiritual woo-woo people who are genuine or who are curious in this. They resonate with it. And here's the thing, I'm not trying to convert anybody to anything. Like, I don't care if you don't believe in this, go to the other side of TikTok or Instagram, right? I like to just talk to my audience. But what I did with this video is I spoke pretty much to the whole world. And how do I know I spoke to the whole world? Because for the first time, majority of my clients were not American.
Hmm.
Like, I started to trend in India, and I didn't realize this until one of my friends actually sent me a screenshot. He's like, I Googled you in India. You're trending over there right now. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Right? Because people in India they're very spiritual. Like, they have their different methodologies, and we know that with this work, the soul contract work, if you use the Sanskrit language and sounds,
Hmm.
it comes out to the same exact information as the Hebrew sounds. So there was a lot of people that connected from India, from the Middle East. I mean, it went like
Global.
global. And I mean, that used to happen on TikTok, but TikTok is banned in a lot of those countries. And
Yeah.
Instagram is not.
Interesting.
Yeah. So relatable. I was speaking to people's pain points. But I also explained to them, in that same video, that the reason this is happening is because life is actually clearing things out for you in order for you to get on path. So I didn't like leave them in a doom and gloom, right? I mean, I try to
Right.
explain to them like, hey, this is what's probably happening. And then at the very end, I introduced myself. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Gellyahnah. I read people's soul contracts. Here's how I do it. Check out my pinned videos, click the link in my bio. Boom, done. Just when it, yeah. The rest is history.
Right. Nice. So I'm writing some notes here. And so yeah, the hook. So fun. So interesting that like it checks so many boxes in such a short amount of time. And so what I'm hearing from the hook is what you shared is heard a question. Question is you're asking them a question rather than stating a fact. So that's able to connect there. It's relatable, like you said, speaking to a pain point. And you also called out very clearly the avatar or the person. Like they
Yep.
knew it was for them or not, or and even if they were in that age, they're like, I want to know what's coming. Or I got some family members that are going through that.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
and then after that, what was the next thing you said after that again? You said, yeah, you asked the question, and then you said, what was that next piece?
Yeah, I think I said if you're between the ages of 35 to 42, this video is for you, because what's happening between the ages of 35 to 42 is your 7-year spiritual awakening cycle.
Mm. Mhm. Okay.
And during this cycle, a lot of people experience losses, divorces, health issues, car accidents, career changes. I mean, I listed off a lot of the things that most of us experience within
Right.
that age group, including myself, right? I mean, my divorce came through at 34, 35. I had
Mm.
health issues. I mean, it's like that's the time frame. And then, so the follow-up thing was everyone said, well, what happens 42 to 49? All right, I mean, that's the most natural question.
Right. Have you made that video yet?
I did.
Nice. How did that one go?
Not as viral, but it did well.
Yeah.
And then guess what I did? I remade the viral video. I literally said the same information.
Huh.
And that one didn't hit 5 million, but it hit like 1.2 million still, right?
Oh man.
I know I'm just like a few million short, but right. But and then the original video, I'm probably going to repost pretty soon because it's like a rerun. Why wouldn't I repost it? Right?
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool because I feel like community leaders, mastermind leaders, we're in the people business, everything we do is communication. That's leadership. So yes, doing a viral video is fantastic, amazing. And even alone, like learning the rhythm of communication, of being able to speak to people in the way that they are understand and connected with, like that, I feel like is a master skill, you know, that pays dividends in so many ways. And so, yeah, I think that's why I like going into here, that framework is so powerful. So you did the hook, and then what I'm hearing is like you did the effects of, you know, the health challenges, you know, the relationships, that type of things. And then it sounds like perhaps you did like, here's why it, like, here's the solution, or what would you say, like, how was that next piece that you did? Because like you said, you didn't leave them on doom and gloom. You said, okay, this is
Right.
for a reason.
Yeah. So I didn't necessarily give them a solution. I said, if this is what's happening in your life, most likely this is life's way of clearing out the things that are no longer necessary.
Mm,
Life is making room for things that are meant for you to actually come in.
right.
And then I said to them, if they want to know what their karma is and their soul contract is, to buy my stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, that was basically what I left it with.
Yeah, and I feel like, yeah, again, that's another important piece. And I feel like all of these are so simple when we like decode them. But the thing is doing them and doing them in each sequence and not leaving them out, because yeah, you can do all of those things, but if you don't lead them to take the next step, they're never gonna do the soul contract or get the transformation. Like they'll just get a good nugget and be done. So that's why I always look at it as like, from a leadership context, are we guiding them? Or if you would have said, hey, do this thing and this thing and this thing, go to this website and all these things, it's like, whoa, I was just scrolling and now I'm overwhelmed.
Mhm.
Instead, it was just very clear. Here's the next step. And like, that's something that so powerful too, that gets lost when people have a mission and they're excited to share, but it doesn't click because they don't tell them that next step.
Right. The call to action is really, really important. And you have to have a clear call to action, you know, and that's, I'll tell you, that's another thing where I find a lot of entrepreneurs get very lost. And I don't know why, you know, like, I don't know how to say this, but it's so obvious and it's so easy, but they get so lost. And I almost don't have the patience to explain this to them. But the link in bio, like it's a link in your bio, and it's been around for years at this point, like years
Mm.
with a capital S. So if you're an entrepreneur and you don't know what link in bio is, it's a little embarrassing. I don't know how else to say it. Like, I'm saying this with love, but like, figure it out very quickly. You know, like, you shouldn't have to ask people what the link in bio is. The link in bio is literally the link that's underneath your picture in your biography, whether it's on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. I mean, it's in the same exact place everywhere. It's literally like your website. But you know, and people have asked me, why wouldn't you just give your website? Websites are so 90s. We're not in the 90s anymore, people. Nobody cares about your websites. Like, genuinely, like, they don't. People need a link in your bio. And imagine if I tell somebody to go to my website. Okay, they go to my website. On my website, they're going to see my products, my services. I have many. They're going to see my podcast. They're going to see a lot of things. They're not going to know what to click on. This is overwhelming. You need to make it stupid obvious for people. And the link in bio makes it stupid obvious for people. So they click the link in my bio, and the link in bio, it's like a link tree. Again, I'm using words that are, you know, in 2024, we should all know what they mean, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You open
Yeah.
up the link tree, and in the link tree, I have different links of where I want them to go. Guess what the first link is? The first link is what I want them to buy. It's not
Mm.
my website is like the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth link down there. I don't know. I don't care. Like, you don't like when people land on my website, I'm like, how did you find my website? You must have really dug down, you know? So the first thing is that I want them to buy, and that's my digital soul contract, because that's the scalable one. So buy this one. The next thing I have, I think, is my bundle. That's maybe the second thing I want them to buy, right? The third link is a one-on-one session with me, because I'm not even pushing the one-on-one sessions. I mean, hey, if you want, great, it's there. But the first thing I want you to buy is this. Now I'm speaking as an entrepreneur, right? So pause for a moment, the fact that I do spiritual things for people, right? But let's talk about the entrepreneurial aspect of it. And then I don't remember, again, I don't remember the order of everything, but one of the other things I have on there is the freebie. Everybody should have a freebie, because this is how you get people's email addresses, right? So I think I don't I don't know what my email list right now is. Let's say maybe 33,000,
Mhm.
right? That's all from the free PDF guide, the soul guide that I give away to get them on my email list.
Mhm. Okay, awesome. So much good stuff to go there. And let's talk about the website there. So giving them a clear call to action. I think that's funny that you said that, websites are basically outdated. And because that's a similar thought I've been having lately. I started out making logos and websites. So it's like websites is something that I naturally go to. It's a safe space. It's a fun place to go to for me. And also realize it's easy to perfect and endlessly tweak a website that just prevents people from connecting and having conversations that can lead to sales. And so I think it's so interesting to hear what you shared is like, yeah, a person can go there, it can look great, look amazing, but it's all these options, all these options. And so what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do underneath this video in the Facebook group, is also put your links so people can go deeper, and we'll talk about that more with you. And you also see Gellyahnah practicing what she preaches with it, and with the link tree. And if there's anybody that doesn't know, it's a link, and it's got basically all these buttons that are links to buy a session.
Right. Yeah. Because people just want to know what to click on. They don't want to go to your website and get lost. Now, I'm not saying don't have a website. I have one,
Yeah.
but I don't think anyone buys off websites anymore. They just need a link. People are very impulsive.
Mm.
They just want tell me what to click on and take my money. And everyone has Apple Pay.
Mm.
Like it just like it boggles my mind how because when I first started this journey, I'm like, who in their right mind off the internet is going to give me money to do a reading with me? Right.
Yeah.
Like that's what literally my thinking. And now I realize, oh, thousands of people will do it without even batting an eye, so
Right.
make it easy for people to buy your stuff.
Mm. Mm. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it's 44,000. I just checked my email. So it's 44,000. And all majority of those are people that are opting in because they're getting the free soul guide, which
Mhm.
is one of the links in my link tree. But it's not even at the top because I'm not trying to get them into the free and then try to convert them, right? Because that's one of the ways you could work a sales funnel.
Right.
That's
Right.
how I started. And when I realized people don't care, the people that want to buy from you, they will buy from you. The people that want free actually probably won't buy from you.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I've learned.
Totally. And this is so powerful and profound, I feel like. And it might be easy to discount it of just like, oh, order of things. It's like, no, no, no. This is like, you go to the highest level of like marketing and depth, and people have done it. It's like literally tweaks like this that at a strategy level just makes such a big difference. And so, yeah, what I'm hearing there is like people connect to your message. They're excited. It stops them in their tracks wherever they are. They might have kids going on. They might be going to soccer practice, whatever it is at the gym. Boom, it stops them, especially with the mission, spiritual work. And it's like, okay, I want to go deeper with this person. And I know I've got life going on. So it's like, if there's barriers and barriers and barriers, pretty soon, somebody's calling for them in the next room, and they're gone. And that type of buyer too is like turned off by, if it's like, okay, if I got to download a free thing, and then I got to go to a free webinar, and then I got to do all this before I get to buy, like, I want this solution now.
Mhm.
And it sounds like that's exactly you're speaking to with that first link.
Right. And essentially that's maybe what I'm telling them is the solution, if you're going through this, the solution is to have your soul contract decoded and understand why. And
Right.
for many people, it really is the solution.
Mm.
Now I'm not going to say for everybody, because for a lot of people, I mean, again, at the end of the day, it's spiritual work. So there could
Yeah.
be a number of things going on. But based on the testimonials I get, and mind you, this product has been now out for 2 years, right? So the digital soul contract is, I'm specifically talking about the digital soul contract right now. So this is, they don't engage with me one-on-one.
Mhm.
And that's my biggest selling product. The testimonials from that, like for many people, they're like, this changed my life, and they've never even interacted with me. So yes, that did give them the solution to whatever problems or things they were seeking.
Right. And a little bit of context here. So the soul contract is like a personality profile that shows you the map of your life, challenges, goals, the things that we're here to do. And then the digital product that you have is videos that you've made for each of those parts of the personality profile. So a person can get it and learn on their own, self-study.
Mhm.
And the sessions that you do are, let's look at it live on Zoom.
Mhm.
So that's another thing I want to highlight here is, like, hiding in plain sight here is the product market match. Like, the viral videos got there, and then there's a very simple solution that they can either do self-study or book, months, years in advance to get a one-on-one session. And I think that's something that also can get lost with entrepreneurs. Like you said, you can almost have like your spiritual hat on at times. You got your business hat on. Like, in order to make a business, like, people gotta be very clear on what they're gonna buy, be excited about it, and not be, it's just gotta be, simple. And that's what I'm hearing with yours as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna bring this as a summary here. And so thank you so much for sharing. Before I get into the summary, is there anything top of mind that you'd like to share as well? Or is that,
No, I mean, I think we
basically?
covered the main points. Yeah, I hope, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yes. So yeah, a bit of a summary here is viral videos. So giving yourself permission to be authentic and discover your own style. So I'm hearing, because it's going to change. It's never going to be perfect, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be to change people's lives. So doing whatever we can to get in that space, to be permission to be authentic, having fun, because that's the magnetism that draws people in. And then your framework for, boom, just speaking exactly to that one person in the audience is hook, that's relatable, speaking to a pain point, calls out who it's for, the effects, here's what's happening that they're going through, the here's why. I feel like there's a positive benefit to that. And then call to action, very simple. So that is the summary I hear. Is there anything you'd like to add to that, or does that feel complete as well?
Yeah, no, that's complete. I just think, I'm going to stress the call to action has to be simple.
Mm.
1000%. You just, whatever your call to action is, because if your call to action is not simple, people are going to get lost. It cannot be complicated. It needs to be like a one click, maybe 2-click thing if it's really easy, but it needs to be simple, and it shouldn't be something that, like you need to sign up for my membership. Like, that's too much commitment. That's what I mean, right? Like, simple. People don't want to overcommit. They just get them in, get them to buy, and then you can sell them other things on the back end if you have other things to sell.
Nice. Okay, great. So we'll wrap up here. Laura is here joining. Do you have a question that you'd like to share? I want to keep it brief here. But if you do, you can hop on here, and then we'll close out with that after that.
Oh my God, I'm so loving your energy. Thank you so much for sharing your whole experience from your heart. It's such an honor. Thank you, Sebastian, for creating these moments. I'm about to launch a podcast, and it's all about featuring rural women. Okay, like my mom, just to share the wisdom. And we created this game where we hang the heart at the door so we can book our space, like a hotel room, don't disturb sign. And then we have this blindfold just to listen to the voice of the women, and this journal, to interview ourselves as experts of our own lives, right? And I would love for this to be created as a game for moms and daughters, actually, so they can learn how to listen to their own voice and be authentic. And I'm just wondering, my feed at the moment on Instagram has been myself giving myself permission. It's non-curated at all. Like, as a burnt out successful woman as well, that was the last thing I wanted to do, right? So I just flowed, and people told me that my energy was infectious, and I know it works, even if it's not even in English. But now I'm wondering, how about creating a viral video from these women, you know, who are older than 60, and, you know, make it fun while they are sewing this and telling the audience, this is how our life changed because we listen to our hearts, and we are inviting you, join us in this mission. How about that?
Well, and first off, I love what you're doing. That is so cute. I love that. Like, I know my daughter would love that. Like,
Wow.
yeah. So just to make sure I understood your question, did you say how would you make a viral video from the testimonials of the women that have used the product? So is that what I'm hearing?
And more about the women who are sewing them, because, you know, it's my mom and, you know, local women now that I want to employ to, you know, create this and make this kind of viral, because it can be used anywhere, you know, like after you listen to a meditation, you can use the whole set. So, you know, it's not even related to our podcast.
So it's almost like behind the scenes of how these items are getting created.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of videos like that go viral, and people love behind the scenes kind of stuff. You know, I myself haven't done anything like that because I don't really have anything behind the scenes to show. But I see it all the time on TikTok and in Reels, and people love behind the scenes of like, and there's so many ways to do it. I would almost go, you know, so something that I used to do a lot and still do sometimes is I look through other creators' videos that I like and look at their style and see what style I would maybe like to emulate or what works for me. And some of it, like, I would never do because it's just too much effort or too much work, or, you know, but others, it's like, oh, that's so cute, I want to do that too.
Cool. And how about the hook being, you know, we are ready to grow, we are ready to have fun, even in our 60s. What would be, you know, the hook for that age gap?
But is the women in their 60s who would be buying your stuff?
Yeah, maybe. Like they want to share the experience with their daughters like me, you know, or their daughters buying this for the moms, something
but that's
like that.
two different audiences, so that's why I'm asking. So when you make videos, you have to be talking to, I would either break them up into age groups, or I would break them up into roles, like moms make a video for moms. If you're a grandma, make a videos for the grandmas.
Okay.
But you don't like to hook them, I mean.
Okay. So we'll have to wrap up here. But thank you for asking, Gellyahnah. Thank you for sharing. And sounds like, yeah, who it's being spoken to, then everything comes from there.
Yeah.
So if you want to go deeper with Gellyahnah, we have, can you share the link that you want them to go to?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You want me to put it in the chat? Yep.
Or you can just say it. You can just say it.
Well, I'm going to put it in the chat, but it's www.sacredsoulcourses.com. You have to put the www because otherwise it won't go anywhere. And it's again, sacredsoulcourses.com.
Nice. And we'll also put the link tree up there too. So if you want to buy, opt into other things as well, it's going to be there. So
yeah.
Thank you so much, Gellyahnah. And this has been Viral Videos, excuse me, Viral Videos for Your Mastermind Group.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura. Thank you for being here. I loved your energy as well throughout the whole interview. So thank you both.
Okay, so